I'm David from Levika Photography, and today we're talking about laptops because I got to take a bunch of stuff back, and my life has been a pain in the ass, and I got to tell you this story because it makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to laptops for photography, this is where it becomes difficult. I just wanted to explain to you guys the process that I'm going through because I'm trying to find something that's cheap and light, and I really want a Copilot PC. This is going to sound stupid because you're like, why does he want a Copilot PC? And it's mainly for the battery life and the lightness of it. So let me show you the crap I've been going through because this has been a nightmare and it's a story. Right off the bat, this is ultimately the one that I really like that I'm going with. So this is a Dell, and this is a Dell, what do they call this thing now? It's the Copilot something or another, blah, blah, blah. 16-inch screen, and it's the Ultra 9, and it's also 32 gig of RAM, but it's just the Intel Arc for graphics. There's a reason for this, so I'll get to that in a second. The other contender that I actually really liked was this little Asus right here. And this one was from Costco, and it's on sale right now for like 900 bucks. Ultra 7, again Arc, and this one was 16 gig of RAM, but didn't really, no. Was this 16 gig or was this 32? I think maybe it was 32, which is the reason why I bought it. And then this is the computer that I am replacing, which is the Samsung Galaxy 4. And this is the Snapdragon setup, and that's why this is being such a freaking nightmare. So basically, oh, there was one more that's missing out of this whole thing, and that's this one here. I'll show it on the screen. The HP OmniBook 14-inch with AMD Ryzen. Now, testing all these laptops, going off of the specs that I know from back in the day, I was looking for something with IPS. So IPS is great, but not the best thing on the planet. What you do want is OLED nowadays. So there's OLED, and then there's mini LED. OLED, mini LED, OLED. So anyway, what it comes down to is I was doing a lot of color testing with these things, color calibrating actually with my Spider Elite, and with the HP OmniBook, which I really liked. It was fast enough. The Ryzen actually did really well with Photoshop. It was stable. That's the whole thing. This is where my big problem comes in, is stability. So this little bastard right here, obviously I reset the thing because I'm giving it to someone, but this one has the Snapdragon processor in it. The OLED screen is fantastic. It is beautiful for photography. It calibrates to 100% RGB, which is what you want, but the Snapdragon processor is probably the most problematic thing that I have dealt with for a while. So this is very close to what you'd think of as like a MacBook Air, because it's all ARM based as far as the architecture, hence why it has a Snapdragon processor. So it just means that the code is simplified, but the problem is Adobe cannot write good code for Photoshop to run correctly on this thing. So every time there's an update, which is about every other week, it seems to crash almost instantly in Photoshop when I'm processing files. So this is the reason why I want to get away from this, because I've had this for a year, and the performance of the laptop itself is fine. It just does not play well with Adobe at all. It actually does really good with DaVinci Resolve, believe it or not, but hates Adobe. This one, well, actually, let me talk about the OmniBook 4 really quick. So the problem was the monitor was IPS. I didn't think that this would be a big deal, but when I went to color calibrate it, the monitor could only show 62% RGB accuracy, which was awful. And you could actually tell by going into the store and seeing it look like pastel colors next to an OLED computer like this. So I had to take that one back. I bought that one as an open box to try to save money. My budget, this is where it comes in, is only $800. So that means that I didn't really have anything to work with. And I can't afford to buy a $2,400 laptop. My laptop prior to these was the Alienware 17-inch Intel i7 13200, and it had 32 gig of RAM and 2 terabytes of storage, a 17-inch IPS laptop. It calibrated correctly, but the calibration floated a lot, meaning that the monitor had to be warmed up to a certain point, and it just didn't really get that bright. It was only 300 nits, which is why I really like OLED monitors, because this one's 500 nits, this one's 400, this one is 550, I believe, somewhere around there. And I get in situations where I'm working in these kind of extreme lighting conditions where I need to be able to see the laptop. So that was the biggest problem with Alienware, was not only that, but even though it had an NVIDIA 3060 in it with like 12 gig of RAM that was dedicated to it, it kept having GPU errors in Photoshop just constantly. It was just driving me nuts. So I sold that one, bought this one. This one also gives me GPU errors in Photoshop, which is the reason why I'm getting rid of it. This one and the OmniBook were both actually really stable. And believe it or not, the AMD Ryzen was really solid with Photoshop. So if you find something with AMD in it that you want, nowadays there's no reason why you can't do it. I think it's really stable for Photoshop. Granted, I'm processing stuff at 90 megapixels. So I'm really taxing the system. Most photographers are working at 24. So I'm working at a much higher resolution, creating much larger files, and I'm just making stuff crash all the time. This little bugger was great. This little Asus, it's a VivoBook 14 Flip. And my only issue with this one though was I have to use, and where the heck is it? With the majority of these, nowadays they don't come with card readers, so I have to use this card reader. And I have a couple of these different dongles, so I know it's not the actual dongle. But the problem with the VivoBook, the Asus VivoBook Flip, is that when you're using these, you plug it in, and then you plug your card into it, and it doesn't recognize the card. You have to unplug it and plug it back in again. So that was insanely annoying. And this is a very known problem for a long time with the VivoBooks, that the USB drivers have a tendency to fail. So that's the reason why this one's going back, is because it's interrupting my workflow. I can't deal with it, but I do love the size, and the screen quality is excellent, and it seems to handle whatever I throw at it. So decent laptop if you want something small for editing photos. Highly recommend. This one right here, even though it's not a gaming PC and it does not have the NVIDIA chip in it, because of the i9 and the 32 gig of memory and the 2 terabytes that's in this, it seems to be extremely solid, which is good. So the display on this is not OLED. This is actually mini LED. And I was kind of worried about this because it doesn't look as glossy as this one. I mean, the colors are there, but this one at a viewing angle changes dramatically compared to, say, the Samsung. So that was the biggest thing, but that's part of the mini LED. But the beauty of mini LED when it comes to screens is that mini LED does not degrade over time. You don't get the weird coloring that you get with IPS around the corners when it starts to fade. So that being said, this screen seems to be really good. Now let me tell you the nightmare story that I had going through all this process, because for me to get to this point with these laptops is like 8 hours now, and it's been driving me nuts. And it's been a lot of testing, but there is one major issue that you guys need to know about. So this is the Dell Plus Copilot PC. And this was the one that I ultimately ended up getting. And the whole thing was a fiasco, right? So the first thing I did was I bought the OmniBook. And then I brought it home and I tested it and it failed miserably. So I was like, okay, I can't deal with the freaking OmniBook. You know, the IPS screen only showing 62% RGB. I had to find something else. I'm on a very limited budget, so I needed the best PC that I could possibly find. So on top of Black Friday, there's another way to save money from Best Buy, and that's to buy OpenBox during their Black Friday week. Now, the reason why is because Best Buy adjusts their prices along with how everything is going. So if a PC is $1,600 and it goes on sale for $1,000, that means that all their open box items have to reflect that same discount plus a further discount for being used. So I found an open box one that was 15 miles away for $749 or $794. And so with tax is like $830, $840. So anyway, I was excited. I drove there, picked it up, and I've bought a lot of open box stuff before, and I didn't think it'd be an issue. I brought it home. At this point, I was a little sick of testing stuff, so I just immediately booted into Windows, got in there to where I could get everything somewhat installed, and then installed my color calibrator and made sure that the screen was okay. And then from there, after the calibration, I started doing updates, and then I started looking at the bout on my PC and realized this didn't have 32 gig of RAM. It had 16. This didn't have an i9 processor. It had an i7. So I was like, what the hell? So I tried to call Best Buy, and you can't actually call the store. They just put you into a call center, and then all you can do is complain, and then they tell you to go fuck off, basically. So I got online and found another open box at another store. And this one was supposed to be in slightly better condition. And I went over there and brought the store manager out and told him what the problem was, that this laptop wasn't up to spec and I couldn't figure out why. And I only had it for a few hours. So I don't know what they were thinking when I brought it in, but at first they were being a little standoffish with me. And then they started looking at the situation and they're like, yeah, we need to help you with this. So basically, what the trend is now is that people are buying cheap laptops that have the same shell and then going and buying an expensive laptop and swapping the internals out, the complete internals, and putting the cheap ones back in the high-end one and sending it back. So that's what happened, was somebody bought a Dell iCore 9 32 gig after they bought a Dell i7 16 gig, and then just swapped the internals with the i7 for the stuff that was in the i9, and then sent the i9 back. So I got this low-grade laptop. So I was furious, and then after I dealt with the manager, he was much better about it, and we found the open box that they had, and turns out they resolved everything. It was all good. They gave me this one for the same price. But I didn't realize that this was actually a trend, because a lot of this stuff in these notebooks that I just showed you, like the Samsung Galaxy 4, the memory and the hard drive are actually soldered onto the motherboard. They're not upgradable. I shouldn't say hard drive, the SSD drive. And then on the Dell, I think there's a memory upgrade slot that you can add to it, but the SSD is updatable, but that's it. Everything else is soldered in. On the OmniBook, I think it's also soldered in as well. And then on the VivoBook that I just showed you, the drive is actually upgradable, but the memory is soldered in. So that's a lot to do to get a cheaper laptop. But essentially, you can get an i7 16 gig laptop for like $600 and then swap it out with something that's from a $1,600 laptop, which is what they did. So buyer beware if you go that route, that you need to actually don't try to buy open box online. Do it in a store where you can open it up and have them look at it and have the Geek Squad actually show you the specs of the hardware that's in it before you get it. That I'm definitely going to do next time, because I would hate to be stuck in this situation where they'd try to blame me for something like this, which is what they were trying to do at first until they realized that I had no idea that that could even be done. But anyway, just buyer beware. So this little fiasco ended up costing me 8 hours. But the bottom line is, if you're interested in a laptop for just editing photos and you want something that's light that you can travel with, that's color accurate, I highly recommend the Dell 16 Plus, the i9 with 32 gig. It seems to be solid. There's no issues with it. As far as the actual laptop itself, it doesn't have anything too crazy. It's got 2 USBs and an HDMI. And then on this side, it's got, I think, what is a headphone jack and a USB-A. So this seems to be the standard that they're coming with nowadays. But the main thing is the brightness and the screen quality from this. So as a photographer, it's really crucial to have that. Now, the other thing that I want to tell you guys about too was between the VivoBook and this one, when I color calibrated the VivoBook, the calibration of color on that from the factory was so good that when I switched over to my calibration, you could hardly tell. So I think that that's a real big bonus. The only problem is the VivoBook has issues with plugging stuff in and out of USB all the time. So that was kind of a nightmare. But the calibration didn't shift at all. And then on the Dell, the shift was very minor. So it was noticeable, but it wasn't like outlandish. You could run this uncalibrated and still be within 96% of where you want to be, which I think is really good. With the OmniBook, it wasn't even close. So that's the downside. And with the Galaxy 4, it comes with a really bright, vivid screen, but the calibration on that one was overly saturated. So I had to run calibration on it, and it was a noticeable difference when I switched it down. The problem with running ARM architecture is that just stuff isn't very reliable for it on the PC side like it is on the Apple side. So anyway, that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. We'll talk to you guys later. See you.